Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again with yet another deck tech featuring cards from Lord of the Rings. Please, if you haven't done it before, hit the subscribe button and leave me a comment at the end of the video. Even if you don't like the video and you hit the dislike button, I'm hoping you hit the like button obviously, but if you hit the dislike one, please leave me a comment and tell me why you didn't like the deck. I've had a few last couple of days where people have hit the dislike button but haven't told me why, so just help me find out. If you don't like it, let me know why so I can help myself find out how to make the videos better. Anyway, today's video. I'm trying to stay away from some of the main characters. I know I've covered Gandalf and I know that I've covered Aragorn. I'm trying to, Sauron came up. I'm trying to stay away from them, so I'm going for some of the minor ones. Well, this one's not so minor because this is Treebeard, Gracious Host. 2 green and white for a 0/5 legendary creature Treefolk. Okay. It's got Trample and Ward 2. Okay. But when Treebeard enters the battlefield, we get a couple of food tokens, which is nice. And then whenever we gain life, we may put that many +1/+1 counters on target halfling or tree folk. Okay, then it's a life gain deck. Right, okay. We know what we're doing now. Kind of. I did look at it. You can build this as a ridiculously good life gain deck. I'm not going to argue that at all. There are some real synergies there with it, and I may come back to Treebeard at some other stage and just do a pure life gain one, and it does get broken very quickly. But today's deck is really all about tree folk. As I always start my deck text, just run through the mana base and the ramp side of things. Green, white lands everywhere. Slightly heavier on the forests than we are on the plains, but we've got a few extra things. So, we've got the Guild Gate, Sunpetal Grove, Temple Garden, Thornglint Bridge. Have got Gavany Township in here. And that's really all the kind of things I think we need to be aware of for the lands. As for the artifact side of it, I did go with Jeweled Lotus because I'd really love to get Treebeard down on turn 2 if I can. Soul Rings here, Arcane Signet, Marble Diamond, Moss Diamond, Talisman of Unity. That's the artifact side of it. We have got a few Go Search Land cards out, which I'll get to in a minute. But what I'm trying to do is obviously play Tree Folk. So the 27 creatures in the deck, most of them are tree folk. I'm not going to lie about it. I want to try and see if I can make it work. And I did have to dig around quite a lot to remember some of the tree folk that have come in the past. So if you don't like some of them, let me know. But I like this. So let's start. So Authority of Consuls and Cleric class both help with our life gain side of things. It also means that if we can get Cleric class up to level 2, we get to do the +1/+1 counter trick. And also the level 3 for the 4 and 1 white gives us a nice way to return any tree folk that may have been killed off. And gaining all that extra life, especially with some of the bigger tree folk we have coming up, could be beneficial. I went with Birds of Paradise because I haven't played it for a while. This is one of the few non-tree folk in there, but it's probably more flavourful than Avacyn's Pilgrim, mainly because this taps for green and white, and birds like trees. Kind of made sense to me. Hardened Scales is here because obviously we were trying to do the +1/+1 counter side of things. And then Assault Formation. Now, you're probably wondering why this is here, but when I was looking at the tree folk, a lot of them have toughness greater than their power, and it made sense to put this in because if we can do the +2 and green and then give everything +0/+1 until the end of turn and attack, we're going to get more damage in. So, plus the fact with Treebeard being a 0/5, if something goes wrong and you can't get any +1/+1 counters on them, it's still going to hit for 5 damage. So, pretty good. Farseek's here, just to go search out some of the lands we might need. So, we'll go and get those plains out, all the dual lands. Heroic Intervention protects all our tree folk when we get there. Naturalised, just so I've got a little bit of enchantment or artifact removal of things that are annoying us. Ozolith, the Shattered Spine, gets to do the whole extra +1/+1 counters like Hardened Scales does. But in this case, we can also do it as an activated sorcery speed and put a +1/+1 counter on a creature for green and 1, which obviously is 2 +1/+1 counters if we've got Ozolith in play. Rampant Growth, 3 visits, you all know what they do. Teferi's Protection protects all our creatures once we've got them in play, along with the rest of our permanents, which is lovely. Likewise, Unbreakable Formation puts +1/+1 counters around if we do it in our main phase. It's also quite a nice instant trick if we're going to think we're facing something like Damnation, Wrath of God, so on and so forth. Beastmaster Ascension, because why wouldn't you want to make your tree folk even bigger? Okay. Um, Cultivate, Kodoma's Reach, do the same thing. Go and find some basic lands, put them into play. One in your hand, one into place. That's fine. Growing Rights of Islamic is also here. Now, this is one you can take out, but I have a reason for why it's here, and I'll come to it, because one of the tree folk has quite an interesting activated ability, which this really does help with. I mean, I could have dropped Gaia's Cradling, but I was trying to keep the actual monetary value down a bit, although this is one of the cards you could drop. Rights of Flourishing, just for the extra land drops each turn, so we can get our big boys out as soon as possible. And the first one of the tree folk appears in Gaia's Avenger. Power and toughness equal to 1 plus the number of artifacts your opponents control. So this is going to vary quite a lot on its power and toughness as treasure tokens enter and leave. But you know, most people play Arcane Signet, Sol Ring, some of the other artifacts as well. So it's probably always going to be like a 3/3 at the start, I would guess. But it could fluctuate quite a lot during the game. Heartwood Storyteller. Be a bit careful with this one. If you've got a blue player in the game and you don't want to get casting counter spells, maybe you want to try and cast your non-creature spells at some other time. But the card draw's quite nice, whichever way you look at it. Tribute to the World Tree. We get to make some of our things bigger, but most of our things will mean we just draw an extra card, which, like card drawing. Faeburrow Elder gets to tap for green and white. Hopefully, we get one of each, which is quite cool. And it's always, just so we're clear, it's always going to be a 2/2 unless we get something out that makes it bigger because of the +1/+1 counters. Ironroot Warlord also makes an appearance, mainly so we can sink some of our mana into it and do some 1/1 soldiers creature tokens. Probably not on theme with Lord of the Rings, but it is a tree folk at the end of the day that pumps things out. Pledge of Unity is really nice. +1/+1 counter on each creature we control, and then we gain 1 life for each creature we control. Yeah, okay then. Cope with that plan. And it's instant, which makes it even better from War with a Spark, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Indomitable Ancients is one of the few mono white tree folk that exist, and they are here. They're a 2/10, which means they're going to block everything. Shame they haven't got reach. I think most tree folk should have reaches standard, but they don't. But it's a 2/10, and at the end of the day, it's a 10/10 with Solemn Formation attacking. Guardian Project helps with our card drawing, and Monster Manual. I figured this was a nice, good way of getting around the fact that our good tree folk costs a lot of mana, and we can just pay 1 and a green and tap it if we've got it in hand to put that straight into the battlefield. So reasonable adjustment from my point of view. Ranger's Path, go and fetch us out some of our dual lands. Unstoppable Ash. This is quite nice. Yes, you have to champion a tree folk or a warrior, which is going to be probably one of the lower costing tree folk. But wherever it's gone, lost it. Brain's gone dead. There you go, Unstoppable Ash. There you go. However, don't forget, if this gets killed when it's championed out another creature, that creature comes back into place. It does give you a little bit of protection for some of your high costing tree folk if you think they're going to get killed off. Garrick's here just to untap some lands, and at the end of the day, if we can do the +3/+3 and trample, very good fun, thank you. And Leafcrown Elder. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may look at the top card of your library. If it shares a creature type with Leaf-Crowned Elder, you may reveal it, and you may play that card without paying its mana cost. Nice other way of getting around the restrictions or the really big mana costs for your tree folk, hence why it's here. Enraged Huron is a new one from Lord of the Rings. When it enters the battlefield, you get tempted by the ring. It's the only thing we've got here that tempts, but it's a 4/5 for 5 mana with trample, which we should be able to make bigger. Seed Guide Ash, when it dies, get 3 forest cards, put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Nice way of thinning your deck out when this goes. Timber Protector pumps up all our other tree folk and makes them all other tree folk and forests you control indestructible, which is quite nice. So as long as you can protect Timber Protector, it's all good. But we've got Invasion of Chandalar as well. Just in case things go pear-shaped, you need to return things from your graveyard to the battlefield. From your graveyard to your hand to recast them. Is quite a nice little thing to have kicking around. And if we can get it flipped into the Leyline Surge, even better. Rootless Yew, when it dies, you go and get something with power or toughness 6 or more. Yep. Shamanic Revelation, because we do like drawing cards and we do want to gain some life where we can, and it really helps with our lovely gracious host over here. So yeah, made sense from that point of view. Renin 7 is probably a strange one, you're wondering why, but it does create a tree folk at the end of the day. If you didn't realise, the token it produces is a tree folk, so yeah, benefits from all other tree folk things. Weathersea Tree Folk, back from the days of Urza's Legacy. I was going to say Destiny, it was Legacy, I was checking. When it dies, return it to its owner's hand. Okay then. The other one of the sort of like white tree folk, well, this is green and white, so it's not quite the same. 3/6, not great, but hey, it's another tree folk, got it in. Mirari's Wake pumps all our creatures up and gives us that nice little mana ramp. Generous Ent from our wonderful Lord of the Rings set is a forest cyclist, so it makes you sort your lands out if you've got a problem. Or if you need to, you can just play it as a 5/7 with reach and gives you a food token when it comes into play. Twin Grove is also next. Equal power and toughness equal number of forests you controls, and when it enters you get a token version of it as well. So for 6 mana, you're going to get some nice beaters on the board. This one does the whole sorcery, gets some +1/+1 counters, then 6 mana makes it a 6/5 tree folk. Fine with that. Pallbearer enters the battlefield, target creature gets +X/+X until the end of the turn, works the number of the creature cards in your graveyard, so we might have a few when this hits in. Nematar Grove Guardian is one of the reasons we have got the growing rights in here. 3 mana, get a sapling, sack a sapling, pump all your saplings up. If you've got some mana left over, we're going to be doing this quite a bit. Orchard Strider enters the battlefield, gets a couple of food tokens, and it's got basic land cycling if we have an issue with landing. Quick Beam Upstart Ent enters the battlefield, up to 2 target creatures, or another tree folk I should say, enters the battlefield, up to 2 target creatures you control. Each get +2/+2 and gain trample until the end of turn. Nice way to punch through for some damage right at the end of the game with your big tree folk. Timberland Ancient, another one to forest cycle, but it's a 6/5 with reach and trample, which I'm cope with. And Verdeloff the Ancient, more saplings, pumps all the other tree folk up, and we want to kick it as much as possible, so bear that in mind. Warden of the Woods becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls. You may draw 2 cards, so it gives you a little bit of protection. And it's got Vigilance, so a 5/7 with Vigilance is pretty good in this deck. Moving on, Fangorn, the Tree Shepherd, is also in the deck. Gives all your tree folk vigilance, and whenever you attack with one or more tree folk, whenever one or more tree folk you control attack, add twice that much green mana, and you don't lose unspent green mana as steps and phases end. So it gives you a nice big mana ramp at 7 mana. Bit expensive, but hey, we'll get there, I'm sure. Last couple, Ghoul Tree costs less if you've got creatures in your graveyard, and it's a 10/10 zombie tree folk. So maybe zombies shouldn't be in Lord of the Rings, but hey, it's still a big tree folk. And Woodfall Primus, got to get this into play, blows up something, and it persists. So, 8 mana for a 6/6, and then comes back as a 5/5, and you've destroyed 2 permanents. I can cope with that plan. And the final card, the Great Henge, should be coming down for 2 mana most of the time. Gives you that life, which obviously helps trigger Treeborn. And you get to get the non-token creatures enter the battlefield. You get a +1/+1 counter on it, and a card draw, and with all the extra bits we do for the +1/+1 counters wherever they've gone, there you go, I'll just show the Ozolifigo. Nice little combo there. Probably a common one by now, but the Great Henge is still quite pricey, not just in real life but on MTGO as well, so it may be a card you want to drop and play something else. But that's it. That is my little take on Treebeard for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for watching the 15 minutes of this video. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll be back very soon with another deck tech. But if you want to see me playing these decks, there's a link down below to Twitch. We're sitting at 186 followers on Twitch at the moment, so you can come and join the family over there. Anyone who comes and follows us gets access to my Discord channel, so little bit there for you to come and do. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll leave you in peace. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.